I too distant? I've been drinking and my head keeps spinning. I can't go home. I can't go home tonight. I can't go home. I can't go home tonight. Are they listening or am I too distant? I've been drinking and my head keeps spinning. I can't go home. I can't go home tonight. I can't go home. I can't go home tonight. No, no.
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to a very special episode as we have a special guest here with us today, Mr. T.J. Penton. Hey, how you doing, man? Thanks for coming on.
Man? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Well, I'm really excited because, like, for me, you're the first filmmaker technically that I've brought on the channel. Number one, and then B, I just love getting local artists, local filmmakers, doing whatever I can. Musicians, whatever I can to just kind of help promote, because I know, I've been behind the scenes. I know how hard it is and how much effort and love and passion goes into it. So, it's this is real. It's an honor for me. I love doing this type of stuff. So I'm really excited about today. And to everyone who may be tuning in live, watching live, thank you so much. Don't forget to do all the YouTube stuff, like, share, subscribe. TJ's links and everything are in the description, so you'll be able to find all of his social media, his YouTube, the trailer to his films, all that type of stuff in there as well. But with that, let's get started, man. So let's go ahead and why don't you kind of introduce yourself to everybody. What obviously you're a filmmaker, you've done a few shorts and stuff before. What kind of got you into film? When did you start, and how long you been doing this?
I mean, just like all of us, growing up in movies as a kid, you just have a passion for it. But I just felt I just loved movies more deeply than just an average source of entertainment. I've been into music producing since I was a teenager. I did a lot of music production. When I moved to Vegas 13 years ago, I retired from the music business and had free time. So I just decided late in my life to get into filmmaking and just to learn the basics. And I learned quickly that, on a technical side, going from music production, mostly in the editing stages, all the post-production stuff was very similar to video editing and, video process.
Yeah.
So on the editing front, it was a easy transition learning curve for me. And just, I took at least 2 years of just online studying of cinematography and directing and writing. Wow. And yeah. That's awesome. And after 2 years, I felt that I hopefully knew enough to self-produce my own short film. And I kind of did it at that point as an artistic challenge, just to see if I can do something decent or is it going to suck? And it came out decent. It probably was nominated and awarded probably a dozen awards and so forth. So I was like, okay, there's something decent here. I think I'll continue on this path, and from there, just try to grow with it.
Nice. So so you coming from music and stuff, what kind of films did you like that kind of influenced you, or like growing up, even after from transitioning to music into film, that kind of influenced you, that you're like, these types of directors, these type of filmmakers really connect and hit me. I want to do stuff like that.
I wouldn't say filmmakers directly, because they change through time. I could say Raiders of the Lost Ark, the original, Indiana Jones series, and Spielberg now is such a different person and different style of director. So, Blade Runner, the original, these are movies from the 80s and 90s that, I'm an older dude. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But that stuff really just, blew my mind, and I, was just really wanting to get deeper into it.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So, obviously, tell us a little bit before we kind of move into film we're going to be talking about, Temple. Your kind of that experience. Tell us a little bit about your experiences leading up to this one. How many short films have you done up until this point, and kind of what's been the experience like for you?
Well, again, backing up to that very first self-produced film, I realized at that time the filmmaking community, again, we're talking about 14 years ago or so, in the Las Vegas community, the filmmaking community was super small, so there wasn't many people to reach out to just help give you a chance or help you learn something. I was fortunate to get with some production companies as a PA, but they're all doing commercial interviews and commercial shoots. It wasn't exactly the style I wanted to learn more deeply. So I was self-producing my own short film, and like I said earlier, it did okay. And I'm like, okay, let me just make another one. So the next year you write and self-produce and, do all the production and so forth and grow from there. And with just the experience that comes from all that, eventually other people locally started reaching out to me to produce their films.
Yeah.
And right now I think it's about probably 14 or 15 under my belt. So.
Nice. That's awesome. So there's 14 that you've produced, and then how many that you've actually written and directed?
Written and directed of my own production would be 4. Temple would be the 4th. And
nice.
Probably, again, so at least 10 or more of other clients, you could say, other people, productions.
Well, definitely after watching some of your work, I see why, and it's very interesting to hear. Your cinematography is gorgeous.
Thank you, man.
So,
Thank you.
To hear that you kind of did a crash course of that in a couple of years, that's so awesome. And like, what? Yeah.
But again, I'm sorry, but cinematography is just so important. Again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You could take Denzel and De Niro, put them in a room with $1 million camera. They're still going to come off like amateur actors if the production is not there. The set design needs to be there. The camera operation, so many factors need to be in place for the overall visual just to look to a certain level and degree, in my opinion. And that's why I took 2 years of obsessing hours daily and just learning the craft and experimenting at home with cameras and lenses and lighting techniques until I felt confident enough to just put something out into the world the first time. And that's the problem with a lot of beginner filmmakers. They just want to rush in and make a movie, and it looks like crap in most situations. And it's going to hurt your reputation and brand. I mean, do it the right way or don't do it at all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's kind of interesting. Like you said, you kind of took yourself to film school. You did it.
And by the way, I did go to film school. I went to the Art Institute, but again, that was over 31, 32 years ago. The technology obviously has changed completely. So I don't even mention that because it's irrelevant considering today's technology and the way the business is.
Yeah. So everything's changed so much. Absolutely. So with that, why don't we go ahead and talk about the film we're here to talk about, which bring up the thumbnail, I guess, real quick for it. Obviously, Temple. And I'll bring up the trailer here in a second. But why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about without obviously giving too many spoilers or anything, a little bit about Temple before we show the trailer here.
Well, it seems like the last couple films I've done, this one and the one prior, I'm constantly watching the news or TV or something, and I'll see something in the news that pisses me off, and I'm like, oh my God, what would I do in that situation? And that's where I usually get my inspiration for these little films. And that's how this one came to be. I was seeing cases on the news of, crackheads breaking into houses for opioids and stuff like that, And I'm thinking, what if that was a family member's medication that was really needed, really important for that family member's health to, stay alive? Well, you're putting that whole family in serious, dangerous situation if, some idiot just breaks in and, jacks all that stuff. So I wanted to twist that story a bit, that narrative, and that's what we did. So Temple's based off a woman in her mid-30s. She's a retired vet. She's, a part-time boxer. So we're giving her the backstory that, she's got some balls. She's a fighter. She's a tough woman.
Yeah.
We realized early in the story that the only family and people and caring, community around her is her father. He's her coach. He raised her, independently from the beginning. So those two really, need each other. And we see that his health is deteriorated, and the same situation happens. Some crackhead breaks into their house and she freaks out and she takes matters into her own hand to hopefully get her father's life-saving medications and, hopefully help the situation.
Yeah. I love it. I'm getting like more kind of grittier. I kind of without the I guess the boxing thing the two had, but kind of like some $1 Million Baby vibes with the whole like daughter boxer, thing.
Well, again, you're right there, but we don't go deep into the boxing in the short film version. It's just an opening sequence. We're just hopefully telling the audience, hey, this girl knows how to fight. She knows how to take care of herself in rough situations.
Right.
If it was some Kardashian, beating up crackheads in an alley, it's not probably going to be believable.
Yeah.
So we wanted this woman to be a little bit more aggressive and just trained by military and just that she's a fighter all her life. So it's a little bit more believable, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's check out the trailer here for Temple. And make this full screen. Nice. Okay. And then I think to move us, we got to do. Gosh, we love StreamYard and their wonderful layouts. There we go. Alrighty, let's watch the trailer for Temple.
Sorry, there's nothing else we can do.
Alrighty, I absolutely love that trailer.
Oh, thank you, man.
Yeah,
making the trailer is harder than making the movie itself, because you don't want to give away too much. And yeah,
exactly. Yeah, well, and also too, I think there's just a lot of things, like you said, you don't want to give away too much. I love for the most part, until that end shot, a silent trailer with the music kind of really amping things up, a lot of the montage shots, but it still makes sense. You get an idea of what's happening, the father, the daughter, or something.
Good.
Yeah, I absolutely love that trailer and stuff.
Thank you, man.
So about how long is the film itself?
Well, again, it's still in the short film category, but it's right on the edge. I mean, from my experience, whether you're dealing with festivals or just, the film community, a short film usually should be about 20 minutes or under, and we're 20 minutes and 30 seconds. So we're really pushing our luck there, to be honest. Yes, there's some events that will allow a film in the 30 or under range to be in the short film category. Some prefer it to be 10 minutes, Right. So, but this film, I was, again, making for myself. In other words, I didn't want to compromise the story. I didn't want to, trim the fat a lot. If I want to hold on a person's face just to get a reaction for 10 seconds, I'm going to do that instead of cutting that shot just to trim, the time shorter. So it is what it is. I wanted it to be that long.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll be honest, it looks like it could be long. This looks like it could be a feature with kind of how deep it goes and stuff.
Well, that's kind of where we're at now with my producing partners. We're talking to some people about that right now.
That is awesome. That's amazing. I mean, So we've gone through the inspiration of the story. What was kind of like the actual process of making this film? How long did it take? All that type of stuff.
Well, most of the time, being an independent film producer, this film being mine, I'm self-financing it as well, so money does play the big part of it.
Absolutely.
It was all locally shot in Vegas. We're a non-SAG production, at least this particular film was. So a lot of the venues we are guerrilla style, and honestly, just shooting without permits in most cases. It is what it is, like it or not. I would say total for a 20-minute film, it might have took us maybe 4 days. There were additional days where we did reshoots of just car driving scenes, but that was just me and the lead actress. So in total, roughly about 4 days. Yeah.
Not too bad. Not too bad. And casting, everything was casted locally as well, and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, everybody's local. Most of the people I've worked with before, most of them are friends of mine I've done projects with, and I casted Danielle, who's Temple, the lead, Danielle Chambers, probably a year and a half before we made the film. That's when I wrote the script, and I put it on the shelf for a while because I was busy with other clients and projects. And her and I just found a way to get back to it and make it happen, So thanks to her for everything she's done.
Absolutely, that's so cool. And then, so now it's currently in the awards circuit.
Yeah, the festival circuit, exactly. Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
Cool. And how's it doing in the festival circuit?
We just started a couple of weeks ago, actually. So no idea yet. The ones we've submitted to, we haven't heard back at all yet. So, but to be honest, it's as a film festival promoter, from again my experience, a promoter might prefer to select 2 10-minute films instead of a single 20-minute film, just to give their audience more variety. So with our film being longer, it does hurt our chances. I understand that. And again, I'm not going to compromise my story. It is what it is. So we'll see how it goes. But again, I just wanted this film to be, again, another artistic challenge. I wanted it to expose all our actors at the best of their ability. And I was kind of hoping that something larger could come of this project. And we are, like I said, talking to some other partners now, and maybe something could. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah. So your writing process, what does that kind of look like for you? Interesting. You said you casted Danielle about a year before. Did you write it then with kind of in mind as a character and stuff? And
this thing was probably written a year and a half ago. And again, I just, procrastinated and was busy on other things. And, it might have been a combination of Danielle being able to help out on the producing side. She did help produce this film.
Yeah.
And she helped put a lot of pieces together. And the rest of the cast, the locations, me getting new camera lenses. I just want to have a project to experiment with, to test out the new toys. All these factors just came into play.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just how it came about.
For you, what's the location scouting like, for an independent filmmaker, for somebody that's like, are you going around to businesses saying like, hey, let's kind of trade promotion? How obviously, are you paying for spots? I know obviously, and I've done the same thing, especially out here in Vegas, with the whole permit stuff. And you can actually get away with a lot too. You can actually talk to some of the casino owners and they'll be okay with it in certain situations and stuff. And so what does the whole scouting process look like for you?
I would say probably half of it is just showing up and doing it. Like there's a scene in this particular film where they're in a public park at a public bathroom.
Yeah.
We didn't have permits to do that. And we just brought, our female lead into the male bathroom and shot for a couple of hours. Yes, some pedestrians came in there while we got camera gear. Who knows what the heck they're thinking.
Right.
And eventually the cops did show up. They never told us to stop. So we kept going and got the hell out of there. Got what we needed. Other occasions, there's a scene in the movie where, they're inside a bar and a conversation and everything. With that one, I did, reach out to tons of dive bars in the area, letting them know that we're a small independent production. This is what we want to do. This is kind of our budget. Could you collaborate with us on that? And the Champagne Cafe, Greg, the owner, was very generous. We did have to pay a certain fee to have his venue, but he was very generous with his hospitality and what he was allowing us to do. So in certain situations, we do, rent or pay for a venue. If it's an exterior thing, we just say screw it and go for what we can, man.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing out here. The rule was, at least when I was back doing it, like if you're on the strip of the casinos, or if the cops come, you got about 5-10 minutes to finish your shot once they tell you to leave.
But that's the problem with those locations, because on a strip the cops are going to bust your ass in a few minutes, and I don't want to rush the scene.
Yeah,
that's why we did some reshoots, because I just wasn't happy. I felt we rushed certain shots. So that all comes into the writing process, and that's when I'm dealing with a client. I'm like, don't be writing some sci-fi thing with a spaceship flying around when you can't technically produce that.
Yes.
Write what you could technically produce and afford to pull off. So
Absolutely.
those are the stories I write. That's why I stay with a more drama or dramatic thriller type genre. It's just what I personally prefer, but also what I could technically pull off in at least my, realm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the same advice I've always got too. Or kind of thing, if you're gonna do something like that, writing something bigger, write it kind of in mind with the budget, write your whole thing, and then know we're gonna have to cut things. We're gonna have to figure stuff out here and there and play around.
And I don't mean to make fun of anybody, but I do find it hilarious. There's 1,000 zombie vampire movies made here in Vegas, and when you watch it, it looks like it's amateur hour Radio Shack iPhone garbage. And not to sound like a dick, but I'm like, why did you waste everybody's time making this? This is just looks terrible.
Where did the budget go? Like, exactly.
And it's because they don't have the budget for the better prosthetic makeup, for the right locations, for the right costumes. And with that genre, probably the CGI is what's going to take it to the next level. And nobody could afford that in an independent filmmaker space.
Exactly.
So, just got to know your limitations,
Absolutely. Yeah, and I agree with you. Out here, that is such a big, which is why your stuff really kind of stood out. It was, first of all, it really was, having seen a lot of the local film, the quality. There was really something about, like, that looks like a movie I would go see in theaters. Everything from the quality, the camera angles, the way that it's shot. It's one of those higher level looking independent productions. So everything that you've kind of taught yourself has seemed to, at least for me, I think has really taken hold, because you really got that cinematic look and quality going.
Thank you so much, brother, for saying that. I really appreciate that. And that is what I do strive for. Like anyone, your writing the story is really based on opinion. I might think it's the greatest story known to man. The next person's going to think it's garbage. It's really just based on opinion. But cinematography, it is either good or bad, period.
Yes.
And I take serious importance into putting time into that and trying to make it as best to my abilities, So I'm glad you picked up on that. Yeah, man.
Absolutely. Just curious too, what was the kind of crew like for it? Was it mainly just you as a crew? Do you have like some guys and also want to ask about the lighting. Lighting for this looks phenomenal. Was that you? Was that a team that you worked with, or?
I do all my own lighting, being a DP.
Wow.
And, that's my own, problem is the lighting situation. Most cases, after I'm done writing the project, I'll, try to find the locations, obviously. Now, if I can, book the location, whether it's a house or a bar or this or that, I try to go there weeks in advance before the shooting date, and obviously try to see where the natural light's coming from, the practicals, what angles. In other words, I'm doing all the blocking, weeks ahead of time. Yeah. I might bring friends with me as stand-in actors or something. So by the time we're actually there on setup day, on shooting day, principal photography, I know immediately my lighting setup. I know the blocking already. I know what to do, and that saves a lot of time, on set there. And same with Temple. Again, another thing that we haven't touched on yet is the post process. And with Temple, honestly, we did not take a lot of time setting up lighting. Very, very minimal lighting. Wow. And most of the scenes. And why is that? Because I hate the term you can fix it in post, but I kind of do know what I can do in post and so forth. And that really comes down to color grading.
Yes.
And the color process of any film, again, will make it look amateur hour or, Netflix production level. Yeah. And I really, really strive myself on trying to do the best color process for any project I have. And I think the coloring, again, makes the difference. The lighting might look okay as we're actually filming it, but I know I can move that to the next level in the color process later on in post. So that's why I'm not taking 3 hours to set up one key light. I'm taking, 20 minutes and then boom, shooting.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing. So you've got yourself all set up and ready to go. So you're ready. Kind of one of the final things to ask about your directing process and the post. What's kind of your process working with the actors? Like, how has that been for you? Has that developed, obviously, working on each short film, and how has that changed from kind of your first short film to now with Temple?
Well, it's funny because, excuse me,
No, you're fine.
one of the lead actors from the very first film I ever did is also in Temple, the guy that plays the cop, whatever. Good buddy of mine, great actor, great dude. I'm sorry, what was your question? What was our point here?
You're kind of, how is your process of directing actors from the first?
Well, I try to read the script with the actor that's, in consideration. So I let them know the tone of the character, the tone of the story, and then I see their interpretation of it. And, based on that, is how you start the casting process. But yeah, and honestly, when we're actually rolling on camera, I'll be like, all right, give me, I'll do 3 takes of you saying it word for word as I wrote it in the script. And then, if you're the type of actor that likes to improvise and play with it a bit, okay, we'll do like 2 or 3 versions of that as well. So in the post editing process, I got options to play with.
Yeah.
And everybody's happy. The actor got a chance to be a little bit more themselves. I got a chance to really get my, thoughts out there word for word, and then see what's best in the edit, So yeah. Just trust your actors and, see, for me, I'm a very visual person. So I think first, does that actor have the visual look I see that person resembling in my head when I'm creating that character?
Right.
And then obviously, can they, even everything matters. The tone of their voice matters. Just the way they behave, how much of their own personal personality they bring into the character. So
absolutely.
I'm not breathing down their necks on set. I'm not, even though I try to, model myself after people like David Fincher, who does 1,000 takes, I'm doing 3, 4, 5, and then moving on, I'm not breaking people's balls on set. Just, you know what you got to do. I know what I got to do. Let's just do it.
Exactly. Well, I'm pulling up some of the, as I'm pulling up some of the images here, I figure we'll just take a look at them and we'll give kind of little backgrounds, information if you want to give like a story on kind of where the scene took place. So let's see here. Those share screen. Not.
And for a cinematographer guy that strives himself on, things looking good, I'm sorry for the plain white background bullshit here.
Oh, no worries, dude. No worries at all. I think, especially with YouTube, I've kind of learned, like, people are really graceful with YouTube for the most part. You could be off camera and still have, like a super good stream, with a bunch of views and stuff. And so it's really interesting how YouTube kind of works with all that stuff.
Because you got your room all decked out with color, lights, all kinds of
stuff. Yeah, I try to, just because I'm, do the show often, have some sort of setup and things in the background to kind of look appealing. And then I have a studio as well, but it's kind of under construction right now. We're remodeling. And go figure, for some reason, StreamYard is not letting me share this. That's okay. I had a backup, and the backup is I always enjoyed these kind of things. I don't know if you've ever seen like the kind of trailer breakdowns that they do, where especially teasers, they'll go through the trailer, stop at certain shots, and kind of like we just said, we're not giving any spoilers or anything, but this shot we were kind of stuck in a situation we had to play right, so any stories or anything that you may have that kind of stands out.
Oh, I got stories, dude. Yeah.
Yes, that's the most exciting part about filmmaking and doing all this is all the stories and everything that kind of you learn so much with each film. Nope. Nice. Alrighty. So let's take a look here. So obviously, I did want to point out that the one with the temple with the is that is like a drone shot or something?
Yeah,
from above?
just a highway drone shot. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely love that, and that was your drone as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
You'll notice on the drone shots, we don't keep it on camera for too long on screen because the drone is not, it's not the best quality compared to a cinema camera, obviously, at least for low light. So that's why the drone shots, you'll see them for just 3 seconds and boom, move on,
Yeah.
It's for matching purpose.
It looked pretty good. It looked really good. I do notice too, especially these first couple shots, a lot of tight shots, a lot of close up.
I love it. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm not a big wide dude. I'll do a wide as an establishing, but then boom, I want to be in that person's face.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of the same way. Is that just kind of to get the emotion of the character, or just kind of what's the purpose for you, and how do you see that within the?
And I think with this style of movie being a more thriller, the audience needs to feel a little bit more on edge, and being that close to someone, you're going to feel a little bit more, edgy, I guess, nervous.
Yeah, the kind of claustrophobic. You're right there, absolutely. So there's like 3 shots right there. I love the turning of this. I love this kind of headlight shot. Let's see if I can.
It's so funny because that's just my little rinky-dink Toyota Prius.
Really?
And a friend of mine is driving her Prius in front of my Prius, and I'm just hanging out the back hatchback of hers and just doing a tilt up. And once you add the sound effects and everything, and I added some lens flare there to make it more artistic looking. And again, it's only on screen for like 2-3 seconds. You'll make a Prius seem like the coolest little car in the world,
Right. Something like out of the Batman right here. I absolutely love it. Great shot right here with the turning.
There's so much. It's like every second there's a new shot.
But I love that. See, I think that's a really engaging trailer, like I said, without telling me too much. There's not dialogue or narration. It's all these very interesting, well done flashes of shots and stuff.
Keep it on this frame for a second. I mean, just to tell you the example of time and you got to put in to do things right. Again, just from my way of doing things.
Absolutely.
Like we're just looking at this frame right now. It's on the screen when you watch the movie for just like 2-3 seconds. That's it. But I had to, the flag in the background's a real, a real vet that passed away. That's their flag. So we wanted to show the connection with her being military.
Yeah.
That's a real military uniform she's wearing on the left that we borrowed from a military person that allowed us to borrow it. Same thing on the right, a professional boxer who was a consultant on the film, trained her for hours and, let her use the gear again for more just staging all these props to help sell the backstory. So like 3 days of prints of just, back photography and getting all the props and everything just to have a 3-second shot,
Absolutely. And that's what I think so many people don't realize, all of that detail into
they don't want to put the time into it,
Yes. And it really is that all that work is so much more impactful because I believe all of that stuff, that looks like a picture, like she's been training boxing for years and all very well set up and well thought out.
Well, thank you, man. I hope it helps sell it. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it does. I think it absolutely does. Cause it definitely people like me are paying attention to that stuff for sure.
And the house we're looking at there is just a house that was a friend of a friend's that, we rented it from the woman for a couple days. That there's an actual locker room to a high school. Again, another actor knew a friend of a friend and got us that venue. So it's just, we got lucky on venues. And that's another thing. A lot of short films do keep it simple, whether it's just 2 actors in one location. And most of the time that is the right formula to base a short film on. Me, I'm so opposite, and it's just because I want a lot going on in 2 seconds, in other words. So there's 1,000 locations, 1,000 things going on, and it's only 20 minutes. but it feels, to me at least, it feels more like I've watched an actual movie, not just a scene.
Yes. Yeah, I completely agree. And yeah, I'm kind of the same way too with even if it's short, I like more locations, just kind of that feeling of this is bigger than it may seem.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I love the shot too with the kind of shadow silhouettes and everything that you do.
I'm all up on the silhouette. The more shadow, the more darkness, the better.
I know. Yeah, I've noticed that. Just out of curiosity, do you happen to be a David Fincher fan?
Obsessed. I study everything he does, and it's not
man, I caught that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's one of my favorites. So I can definitely see that kind of tone palette in your style. I love that.
The smoothness of his cinematography and his color process, both are 50-50. And I do, steal a lot of his technique and style. I do.
Yeah.
But it's just what I personally enjoy and what influences me.
Yeah. Hey, you're talking to the right guy because Fincher is one of my all-time favorites. So. Okay, well, we'll start here, and then we'll make our way back. I love this kind of little hallway scene, and this was actually one of the still shots that you sent me. So this works.
Okay, yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's kind of the story of this scene right here? What's kind of going on here?
Temple is the girl, obviously. That's Danielle Chambers, and she's finally been able to find the idiot, or burglar, whatever you want to call him. The guy that broke into her house and started this mess to begin with. She found him. They're in a public restroom here. Seconds before this shot, he's taking a piss at the urinal. And she sneaks up on him, slams his head against the wall, and starts roughing him up to find out, hey, dude, where's my stuff? I want it back.
Right.
Not to give away, everything. Well, I'm not going to go there because I don't want to give away too much story. But, yeah, she does find the guy, obviously. And, yeah.
Awesome. I love that. I love the shot, too, that kind of corner shot you're kind of doing there.
And look at what's happening again pertaining to color. We have a backlight, which is a practicals, because this being a public restroom at a park, we didn't have, we didn't know if we were going to have 10 minutes to shoot or 10 hours until we got getting kicked out of there. So I'm not setting up a lot of lights. I might have just had my own little tube light here or there. So we're using all the practicals that came in the location itself. So to help make the overall image look better, again, the color process. Look, what are we seeing here? A lot of greens and yellow tones in the overall image. That room does not look like that whatsoever in reality. That's just gray cement blocks. But you use a certain color to represent a certain feeling, and that hopefully it gives the audience that feeling you want them to have within that scene.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I agree with this comment too. I absolutely love the music choice for the trailer. Is that original music or?
For the trailer, I wrote that because again, I used to do house music and all that crap. But the music in the film itself was done by another composer from London, a guy I do work with, again, an electronic musician. And I thought the music in the film was phenomenal. It was exactly the style I wanted. So it's very similar to the music in the trailer, but not as crazy upbeat, techno-ish. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, great. Again, that's another, I think, great choice. Really amps up the kind of thrill style of the film.
And almost, well, definitely all my self films and most of the clients' films I work on, I try to tell them, hey, yeah, you can cheap out and spend $50 and just get music from YouTube or some website and download it. But why not take it to the next level? If you have a little bit of budget, hire a composer, have original music. I know it's just a short film, but again, try to take it to the next level a little bit. And that way the music really fits the scene. It really fits the timing of the scene. The music climaxes when the dude's head's getting smashed or something. Everything just fits better. Yeah. And I mean, the composer took 2-3 weeks just to get the music for this project done with revisions. So I really appreciate his efforts. Yeah,
I can't. Oh man, well if the music's anything like that, I'm even more stoked. And then I did want to go back to one shot here that I really liked.
Yeah, they're all like 1 second. Good luck finding it.
Yeah, but I love that. Maybe this one. Maybe not. All right, let's see. This shot, I really kind of the shot of the cop kind of feels very very kind of No Country for Old Men.
Oh, cool.
Right,
Yeah, the
right.
color palette's a little similar. Yeah.
Yeah, with that cop turning there. I don't know what's going on with them, but I'm interested in this character.
Exactly. I'm glad you said that because there is more to him. We are hoping to explore if this became a larger project. So that's all I
Oh
got to
man,
say with him. But that's
nice.
Brad Stein. That's the actor I mentioned earlier. That was in my first movie. He's a great local actor. He's done 1,000 things here. Hopefully, you've seen him in other stuff. He's an awesome dude.
Yeah, that is really.
But we did. But I'm so glad you picked up on that because I did want his character to come off a little odd and suspicious.
Yeah. I do, well, even again, just kind of that shot, of him. Oh, it really is just 1 second. Oh yeah, I said that was that's another still that you sent. That one of him. I love that shot because, like I said, very kind of like Coen brother vibes in that.
Good point. Yeah.
I do like this shot too of kind of her driving. Now, obviously, kind of little stunt work here with the driving or anything. So you're right there in the passenger seat with her.
It's funny because I bought a very expensive camera mount to mount the camera on the hood of your car or whatever placement. And the thing broke the first day I set it up, and I'm like, oh my god, I almost lost my life investment here.
Right.
And then I had like some $20 magnets and a piece of wood laying in the garage. I'm like, screw it, this is my backup.
Yeah.
And I made a little magnetized car mount and just threw it on the hood or wherever. And we did some reshoots of the car exterior stuff because we just wanted a lot of different angles, and it does take time.
Yeah.
But this shot seems more exciting because we're only seeing her turn the car, and we're adding the sound effects of the tires screeching and all that post stuff later just to make it seem more exciting. But if you rewind it 2 seconds, it's the most boring thing in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like most films, you go to the behind the scenes where everybody's just.
You got to give it to good acting. Look at her; she's so nervous and tensed at that moment. So good acting is what sells that moment.
Absolutely.
Sorry, there's nothing else we can do.
I love this shot kind of with his over her head shadowy silhouette, kind of like you mentioned how you like the silhouette stuff.
I mean, and he's so much taller than her, and we did want him to be the character
towering.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So let's do that look up type of angle. Again, stay on the shadow side. Yeah.
Love that. And then you have the
nothing
shot
else we
here
can do.
love that shot.
And if it's okay, I would like to give props to our makeup girl, Holly Long. You obviously saw some characters there with blood and crap on them.
Yeah.
She did an awesome job, I mean, yeah, I think it looks realistic. So good on her.
Yeah, everything looked. I really love that trailer. Everything from the way it's shot and stuff. Let's see. This kind of reminds me of the Substance trailer. Oh yeah, that is
I did rip that off a bit. Yeah, I saw that, and I'm like, oh, that's a cool concept. I totally, yeah. Again, I was struggling to find what style of just visual style for the trailer, and a lot of trailers get boring. It's only a short film. You only got so much you can show before you give away the story.
Exactly.
And they did quick cuts in theirs, and I'm like, oh, that's a cool way of doing it. And since this movie is more thriller based, it fits the theme, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of talking about like all the what do you kind of prefer more as a filmmaker? Do you prefer more more handheld shots, more tighter Steadicam and all that type of stuff?
Personally, I don't even own a Steadicam. I rarely use my gimbal. I got a Ronin. I hate handheld. I prefer everything to be on a slider. I want it stable as shit. I hate shaky footage.
Yeah.
Yes, in the action sequences in this movie, we did handheld.
Right. Well, that's pretty typical for action. Yeah.
It is. And then also, we were in a public bathroom. I'm not going to take 20 minutes to set up a tripod. We don't have time if the cops are sitting outside. I'm going to have to be handheld just to save time. And yes, play into the scene, the shake. But the majority, I do prefer to, be smooth and steady. Whether it's a static shot or a push in, pull out, or whatever. I do a lot of slider stuff. I won't set up a big dolly because we don't have space or time for that. But yeah, I prefer steady and smooth.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, dude, I am. When can people kind of expect for this to be out in full? I know it's kind of hard with the award going
with the festival circuit just beginning. I mean, the festival circuit is really up to the producer, me. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it could be 6 months, it could be a year from now. But speaking to venues next week, I'm hoping that we can have a public screening of the film itself for free for everybody. So if I can get the right venue for me, the right price, then hell, let the whole community. Obviously, we'll promote it on all the pages and everything, so everybody knows. And hopefully, the community can come out and just watch the damn thing for free. Obviously, I'm not going to charge for any bullshit. And just hang out for maybe an hour and everybody talk shit with each other and have a decent time. So hopefully, we can set that up for the next month. Little public viewing of it. But
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, definitely, we'll be promoting it here on our page and stuff for sure. And
thank you, dude.
I have really enjoyed this conversation. Just kind of getting to know you a little bit and stuff.
Same here, man.
I'm definitely excited. Again, you guys can check out TJ's past works. The trailers, and I believe a couple of the full films are on your YouTube channel.
Website, yeah, or the website. Either way, yeah.
Yeah, both are in the description, so you can find him if you're here in Vegas. Obviously, he has a studio and all those types of things. All those links are there as well. But yeah, man. Anything else, kind of before we wrap up here? Anything else you'd kind of like to say or promote before we end?
That's it. Just the temple thing is my main focus right now. So I hope if we get a chance to publicly show it, that hopefully people get something out of it. And if you don't like it, don't tell me. That's all.
Exactly.
No, it's cool, man. I mean, everybody's got an opinion. It's cool. But no, I appreciate you supporting the film and me. And thank you for talking with me, dude. I appreciate the time, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, with that, everybody, thank you to everybody who tuned in, who watched, who's going to watch on the replay. Thank you so much. Again, make sure to support TJ. Check out his stuff. And hopefully we'll have him back maybe when it's closer to release, or when you do get that public screening, we'll figure something out to kind of help promote and stuff.
That'll be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I absolutely love this, man. So thank you so much for being here. Thanks to everybody for watching and tuning in. TJ, if you want to stick around afterwards, we'll still be in the
cool, man.
So, but thank you to everybody who watched. We will see you guys next time, and peace out.